Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mind of Cy Marie. Today, I'm joined by a mystic scribe whose work bridges the unseen and the literary. Kelly O'Hearn is the author of Arcanum, a channeled series that transmits layered truths, spiritual codes, and poetic revelations. Her writing is both sacred and subversive, an offering from the ether shaped by intuition and craft. Kelly, it is an incredible honor to welcome you to my show today.
Thank you, Sai. I'm happy to be here.
So, to start with, what first opened the channel for Arcanum to come through you?
Well, I have been studying the tarot, which is my primary profession, for quite a long time now. And during the pandemic, I decided to use my cards to investigate and ask questions about my past lives. And what was revealed to me is what led to the novel series.
Wow, so Arcanum is described as a channeled series. How do you define channel in your own practice?
Well, for me, channel is, God, that's a great question. Channeling is something that all of us can do. It's not unique to me or just a handful of people on the planet. It's a knowing, right? It's that hunch that we have, that gut instinct about something or someone. And like any muscle that we want to strengthen, if you want a nice bicep, you got to pick up the dumbbell and do the curl. Well, I've exercised my intuitive muscle so that I now have a capacity to understand, read, channel energy. So it's really just an interpretation and a translation of energy.
So that kind of goes into my next question. The language of Arcanum is both poetic and prophetic. How do you shape transmission into literary form?
Well, because Arcanum was channeled through the lens of my soul and the possible recent incarnations that my soul has experienced before this one life as Kelly, I lived it as I channeled it. I mean, the story lives within me because my body has a somatic memory, and I literally felt the emotions, and I had just deep emotional responses to these channels. So it's not a hard thing to translate from channel transmissions, to use your language, into literary form.
So, what spiritual or energetic conditions help you receive and refine those messages?
For a long time, I would sink deep into meditation. I would really have to get focused and quiet the mind. But now I don't have to really do that as much. I'm kind of always in the zone of channeling. And that just comes with years of practice and really learning to trust my intuition. It's that skeptic brain. And don't get me wrong, I love skepticism. I mean, I think skepticism imbued with healthy curiosity is one of my favorite qualities in people. But I have such a deep trust in my communication with the field of life itself, of consciousness, that I'm always in a state of channeling now.
So, how do you discern between personal intuition and collective guidance when writing?
That's an interesting question as well. I'm not sure there's much of a difference, because personal intuition, of course, is me communing with my higher self, which is connected to the entire collective, as you call it. So I would have to say, perhaps, if you mean collective guidance by kind of some noise that could come in, that's easy now for me to just to like interpret and know the difference. But I am able to rely on my voice to kind of welcome the collective guidance of guides, of the divine, of the universe, whatever you want to call it, knowing that the messages that I will receive are the messages that are meant for me.
So, how do you discern between what particular passage or transmission in Arcanum has challenged you the most emotionally or energetically within that discernment?
Yeah, I would have to say that the book 4 in the series, which is not yet written, so I'm sorry that people have to wait. But the past life in book 4 was such an emotional thing for me to channel. I mean, I lived the heartbreak, I lived and felt the love that between the soulmates. So I would say, in all my channelings for Arcanum, with all the past lives that I tapped into and all of the creative process that I've been enjoying, that particular life, which takes place in, I'd say, late 1300s, 1400s, in Scandinavia, that life is the hardest one for me to write from an emotional point of view.
So, how do you protect yourself in this vessel while channeling intense or disruptive truths like that?
Yeah, I have some techniques that I use not only in my writing but also in my career, because my full-time job is working with private clients around the world, channeling their energies. Obviously, there are some very known techniques, salt rubs after I'm finished working. I shower with a salt rub that helps just cleanse my body and equalize the energy. Using dark colored crystals like black quartz. I always have a black quartz in the room when I'm writing or channeling with my clients. And it's also just I can use my emotional body now to discern if I'm getting too muddled or too muddied with certain energies that I don't want to take with me into my own life. So I just stop. I can't stop with a client, but with writing, I can easily just, have the freedom to just close my computer, walk away, and come back another time.
Yeah. So, what do you hope readers will awaken to through Arcanum's layered revelations?
Well, Arcanum is primarily a love story. And the tagline of the series is sometimes happily ever after takes more than one lifetime. So it's really a story of a woman who has been avoiding true love of her soulmate lifetime after lifetime. And it's the lessons that she has to learn in order to fully embrace the love of self and the dignity that comes with that. And once she can do that, she can turn to her soulmate and embrace and accept that love. So that's really, it's a fictional story. I know it's channeled through the lens of my soul, but it is fictionalized and it's an enjoyable, easy, light, fun read. But I do hope it makes people ponder, um, have I really welcomed true love in my life? Do I still hold my patterns towards myself, self-judgment, self-recrimination? I mean, the things we all do. And then to question, have I had a past life? I mean, that question in and of itself is a really curious, fun thought.
So, how has your own spiritual evolution been reflected or accelerated through the series?
It's given me a wonderful, expansive feeling about myself. As I said, this is not my primary career. And there, at no time in my 58 years, did I ever have a dream, a wish, even just a imaginary fantasy about becoming an author. I never even liked writing book reports, much less writing a novel. So this experience and the follow through which I have had to dedicate has really given me a lot of confidence and increase my self esteem, not in a braggadocious way, just in a way of realizing some completion and just faith that I can do really anything that I want. Nothing stands between me and any result I want to have. It just takes a little effort.
So, what do you see as the biggest misconceptions about channeled writing or metaphysical literature?
I think most people don't even understand what it means, really. And I get it. It's kind of a weird idea that this entire novel didn't come from me, it came through me. And I know we've all heard or anecdotes or read in other fictional novels about painters that will lose time and just complete an enormous canvas in one sitting, or musicians like Beethoven who can sit down and just get into this creative zone and just completely write the most brilliant of symphonies that have stood the test of time. They're channeling. When they are doing that, that's channeling. So any creative endeavor, it doesn't have to be artistically based, welcomes everybody's ability to channel. So it's not as unusual as most people think. And I promise you, every one of your listeners has had experiences channeling. They may not know that's what they were doing, but they've done it. If you're alive, you've done it.
So, what grounding rituals or practices support your creative process?
Just drinking a lot of water. I don't really have a lot of rituals around writing. Because, as I said, the story comes through me. I just have to make sure I'm well rested and hydrated. But I can just sit down and pop open my computer and just get to work. I don't really rely on outlines. I don't have notes. It just literally comes from my fingers onto the keyboard.
Awesome. So, are you currently receiving any new transmissions or working on extensions of the Arcanum series?
Well, actually, it's funny you asked that question. So, when I originally channeled it in 2020, I channeled 8 past lives. And then I decided that 6 of them had a lot of fabulous meat on the bone. So I thought I would write a 6 novel series. But I'll be honest with you, I'm tired. And I turn 60 soon, which I'm really looking forward to. And I really want to have wrapped up the series before my 61st birthday. So I'm actually paring back. I'm going to make it a 4 novel series, and it just feels right for me. So, the discernment has having to pick which past lives will comprise book 3 and 4.
So, if you could commune with any mystic, oracle, or spiritual writer, either living or deceased, who would it be and why?
That is a fabulous question. There are so many. I mean, obviously, Jesus, the mystical side, the Christ consciousness that he as a human being was able to achieve intrigues me. So that would be a really, really interesting conversation. Ganesh, who is the goddess of just abundance and joy and prosperity and so many beautiful things. I would love to have dinner with Ganesh.
That's beautiful. So, what advice would you offer to emerging channelers who fear their messages are too strange, too sacred, or possibly too much?
Well, if you're not willing to risk being too much, then just be prepared to accept a small life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody is meant to be too much, quote unquote, in a lifetime. There's no judgment of it. There is dignity to that. But if you are willing to take the step to welcome your energetic body, your spiritual body into the thread of the tapestry of you. I mean, it's just the truth of who we are. We're four parts. We're physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, or what I call energetic. It's just one tool in the toolbox. It won't take over. It doesn't mean you walk like levitate through life. You don't have to wear robes and beads. You just welcome it. And it's such an asset in your life. It helps you co create the life you want to live. So I hope a lot of people will try it out, dip your toe, experiment with it. My channeling is not the type of channeling side, for instance, you probably do. Everybody has their own way of doing it, just like we all have our own speaking voice. There's not one voice that sounds exactly like mine if it was measured by a machine. It's the same thing with channeling. So I do hope people try. I mean, I get the fear of judgment. I get the fear of ridicule. I went through that phase myself, but just go for it. Just try it out.
I totally completely agree with that. And I feel that it's definitely about tapping and introspecting with, your own, getting in tune with yourself. And that seems so cliche, but it really is true. So, Kelly, do you have any final thoughts here you really want to share with the audience that are speaking to you right now?
No, I just ask that if anything that we've discussed or that I've shared intrigues you, please consider picking up my books on Amazon. They both are for sale on Amazon. I just welcome any, I don't know if you put a link side to my
Yes,
website.
I absolutely will have some links to
Wonderful. So
where
I
to get.
ask people to reach out. You can reach me through my website, through my social media. Ask questions. If you are just new to this, reach out, ask my advice. I will always get in touch. I will always reply. So that would be a delight for me.
Awesome. So, yes, definitely look in the show description notes for the links to follow Kelly and to find her work. Again, Kelly, thank you for joining me today on The Mind of Cy Marie. Arcanum is more than a book. Obviously, it's something I feel very, at this time in the timeline, will be very crucial and a helpful resource to many people, being a transmission, a ritual, and a reclamation of the sacred voice. To everyone listening, the series is available now on Amazon, as Kelly said, and make sure that you read it slowly, read it aloud, and let it speak to the parts of you that you remember. Until next time, stay open, stay sovereign, and keep channeling the truth only you can carry.